Hey legends, Blake here with another video, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 unique fish for a 20-gallon aquarium. So if you've seen 100 different videos already about stocking options for a 20-gallon and you're just looking for something different, something that's not neon tetras and guppies, well, hopefully this is the video for you. The first one on my list is the sparkling gourami. These fish are super quirky and unique. They're awesome little predators and they'll spend a lot of time hiding in amongst plants and so forth. So I think they're just going to be awesome. They make a cool croaking sound if you are lucky enough to hear it, and they have a bright blue luminescent eye. Being an anabentoid, that means they have a special type of labyrinth organ. That means they can take air from the surface rather than through their gills. They're going to be a lot more hardy and forgiving in terms of water parameters, but you will have to probably hatch out live baby brine shrimp or culture things like microworms in order to sufficiently feed them. They look great in a Blackwater style tank, and for what they are, they're not too hard to find or too expensive, so I think sparkling gouramis make an awesome unique option. Next up on the list is the glass catfish. Now these guys are often overlooked and I'm not sure why. Given the name glass catfish, they're transparent so that you can see all of their little organs and things, which I guess makes it a cool species to teach your kids biology and things like that if you wish. I also think personally around Halloween time you could make an awesome tank with the glass catfish inspired theme where they're the little spirits or ghosts floating around the midwater of that tank. Now of course fish are more of an investment than just a seasonal thing, so you'll have to keep them longer than that, but once you set up a cool spooky aquarium, I'm sure you'll want to do that. Next up on the list are going to be threadfin rainbow fish. These fish are awesome in groups of 6, 8, 10 or more, and they have beautiful long finnage as the name threadfin suggests. These guys come from Australia and Papua New Guinea. They're super peaceful, they're pretty easy to feed, they'll take to flakes and things like that, pretty much no worries. They'll show some awesome activity, especially at first light, first thing in the morning or whenever your lights do turn on. They'll do some nice dancing and shimmering around and show off best coloration at that time. And there are heaps of different color combos that you can get. Depending on where you are in the world, they might be a little bit tricky to track down, but once you do, you won't be disappointed with an awesome little school of threadfin rainbows. The next one I'm going to recommend is the African butterfly fish. I've personally kept a little group of these for a couple of years now, I reckon, and they're awesome addition and really unique looking. Now, they're named the butterfly fish, and from above they do genuinely look like a butterfly has got stuck on the water, but from the side they can blend in pretty easily and look like a leaf or some sort of insect or something like that. Now they do have quite a big trapdoor mouth, so you do have to be careful with what you keep them with, but you can have a lot of fun feeding them crickets, mealworms and things like that because they're awesome predators, but they will only really eat from the top of the aquarium. Now they have quite a large trapdoor mouth, being semi-relatives to arowanas, so if you have always loved arowanas, whether that be Asian silver, Australian or African, but you've never had the tank big enough to keep them, African butterfly fish could make an awesome nano alternative. So I think definitely don't look past them. Next one on the list is the first live bearer, and that is half-beaks. In particular wrestling half-beaks, but there are a whole bunch of different types of half-beaks depending on what's available in your particular country. Half-beaks are really cool, often elongated and looking like a little mini gar. As I did mention, they are live bearers, so they're not going to be scattering eggs. They do give birth to live baby fry, but they have to be on a really enhanced diet, and there has to be heaps of cover in order for the fry to survive. So they're not going to overpopulate your tank like endlers and guppies can do sometimes, but you might have 1 or 2 lucky little fry popping up here and there, which is going to be awesome, and in some sense even more rewarding when that happens. Now half-beaks, like many top dwellers, are awesome jumpers, so be sure to keep a tight lid on there, and again feed foods that are going to be very slow sinking. Things like freeze-dried blackworms work really well. Outside of maybe being a little bit tricky to find and a little bit tricky to feed, half-beaks are going to be super unique and super cool for your 20-gallon aquarium. Next up is a fish that I picked up recently, and that is the black tiger Dario. You could also lump in Batis into this category as well as a really awesome nano predator. They're going to be way smaller than you probably think if you've seen pictures of them online, but they look so cool hiding in amongst rocks and looking for that little morsel of food. So I feed mine regularly with freshly hatched baby brine shrimp, but they will also take some small pellets and powderized food as well, and I absolutely love them. Males, depending on which species you get, are going to show awesome stripes and either bright red or bright black or a combination of the two. And just generally they're an awesome nano fish. So in a 20 gallon, you could put heaps of them in there. They'd set up little territories and all that sort of stuff. You might even find that you have some captive breeding going on, which is always heaps of fun. Next one is the rope fish, or the African rope fish. These guys, if you have always wanted to keep a snake and your parents or significant other won't let you, this might be a great alternative. They look really eel-like and serpentine because being named rope fish, you know, they look like a long piece of rope. They really thrive in areas that have heaps of coverage and areas to hide in, and they're going to be sort of slithering around a 20 gallon really, really nicely. Once again, ropefish are extremely good escape artists, so make sure that even the gaps in the corners of your lids are covered in with some sponge or something like that. And they might be a little bit tricky to feed initially, but ropefish can be one of those species that really grows on you and becomes a real feature of your fish room or just your single tank, and people will always come and check them out. Next one on the list is going to tolerate more cooler temperatures, and that is a paradise fish. Again, paradise fish are an anabantoid, so related to gouramis, bettas, and that sort of family, but they have really nice elongated finnage. They get quite large and they come in a heap of different colors as well. So paradise fish make a really great hardy option, maybe for your first tank if you want to do something that's a little bit more unique than sort of tetras, corridors, and that sort of thing. Paradise fish will take to pretty much any food. They'll blow bubble nests, which can be really cool as well, and they'll show off some great behavior. They can be a little bit semi-aggressive, not too much, but yeah, you'll just be mindful of what you're gonna keep them with. But just like bettas, you can breed them in captivity if you are able to find males and females. Females can be a little bit more tricky to find, but yeah, paradise fish come at a fairly low cost, easy to find, super hardy, and they can, depending on where you are in the world, tolerate a heater-free aquarium, which might appeal to some as well. Next up is peacock gudgeons. I really like gudgeons at the moment. They have a really unique appearance, and peacock gudgeons especially have heaps of awesome color. Peacock gudgeons in particular are pretty hardy. They will breed in captivity, which is awesome. You can keep a fairly decent group of about 6 or so, maybe even up to 8 or 9 in a 20-gallon aquarium. And you're gonna get brilliant coloration of purples, yellows, and all that sort of thing. They don't get too big. They'll probably stay around about 2 inches, 5 centimeters, something like that. They'll take to most prepared foods, and they will enjoy live foods, of course, as most fish do. But for the most part, peacock gudgeons are going to be, yeah, just again, one of those fish that people just go, oh, what is that? I've never really seen that when I've been looking to replace my goldfish that's dying every 2 weeks, you know, as generally people's experience with fish keeping is. So definitely one to keep on the list. Okay, and last on the list, I'd go with some type of wild betta. Now, this is leaving things open to a wide category of species. So the more common ones, to narrow it down a little bit, things like betta rubra, betta macrostoma, betta imbellis, things like that, that are going to be similar to people's, you know, betta splendens, or sort of the common bettas that you do see in those little cups that we all hate as fish keepers. But I like wild bettas because you can do a really unique tank with them, and they're gonna look similar but different, which creates that sort of intrigue for people that aren't familiar with that sort of deeper level of the aquarium hobby. Things like betta rubra are going to be awesome talking points for you as a budding new fish keeper or an experienced one when people do say, what is that thing that looks kind of similar to what I'm familiar with? In that, males are actually going to keep and hold the eggs during the incubation period of their breeding. Betta imbellis don't do that, but there's heaps of mouth brooding bettas and also bubble nest bettas that you can choose from. The list really goes on, and there's bettas that are going to be varying sizes, varying colors. You can really just get a list and pick whichever one's your favorite from that. but I still like the idea of having something that's similar but different to what most people have out there. So there you go, guys. That is the list of my top 10 unique or uncommon fish for a 20-gallon aquarium. Let me know if it's given you any new ideas down below, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, it always helps me out too. Smash like, hit subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.